Throughout the intensive, we've studied the different kind of media that the American culture has been communicating through since the 1400s. Whether it be painting, photography, movies, music, dancing, literature, the idea of the different ways of communicating really sparked my interest. I believe that our new way of communicating is texting, and I think that this method is taking over completely. Our generation is so wrapped up in texting. It has become a part of so many aspects of our lives. So, to see if the rest of you agreed with me, I decided to conduct a series of interviews to see what texting means to all of you. My results were exactly what I expected.
Make plans, basically.
I think it's an easier way to communicate and like get your point across, like a simple question or something.
Oh, it's like a quick form of communication to like just ask a quick question or like talk about school, like it's just communication.
It's about where they are or where they need to be, or just talking like, how's your day been, or something like that.
I think that most people text to communicate small pieces of information.
To communicate with others, to like stay informed with what's going on.
Quick text like, oh hey, like I'm on the way, or like I'll be there in 5 minutes.
Communicating, I keep up with like friends that live out of state.
I use it to like talk to my friends mostly. Have like group messages, I guess, with my friends. And
So you have
talk
like
to them.
conversations over
Yeah.
texting.
I use it to, I don't know, have conversations with my friends, tell my parents where I'm going.
So you use it for like full-on conversations?
Yeah.
Just to like ask my friends like, all right, when are we hanging out? Or if I'm talking to a girl, but no, not anymore. 'Cause okay, don't put that in.
I use it more for just like keeping in touch with my friends like throughout the day. We have like constant communication even when we're not like together.
Just talk to my friends and just, make plans for nights. And,
So you have like conversations over
yeah,
text.
exactly, yeah.
I use texting to communicate small pieces of information, but when I would rather not talk to somebody on the phone. So I send or receive 2 texts a week.
A day. Probably actually not that many, maybe like 50. I have no idea, probably like 100 or so.
Probably like 100, 200, something like that.
A day, recently probably about, send, receive together about 500.
A lot.
It's convenient, it's quick, it's kind of thoughtless, I don't really know. It's easy to do. It's pretty quick.
If you're really mad at someone, maybe like you don't want them to like hear your voice or like see you, or like you might say something, like you have time to think out what you say.
Is that it is a very effective, quick way to get information to certain people.
All right, if I want to tell a girl that she's cute, I'll like it's hard. So
You wouldn't say that in person.
I sometimes do. To be completely honest, I'm very.
I think it's a quicker way to communicate with others. I think it's better for like short conversations.
I think the best thing about texting is like you don't have to respond right away, and like you can kind of like think about what you're gonna say and like that sort of thing.
Gives you like an idea to like think about what you have to say like before you say it. Like it's not just like, when you're texting, you can take as long or as like little as you want to respond, and so you can like come up with like the best response, I guess. The thing that's best about texting can also be seen as the worst thing about texting, because when people get into conversation and stuff, I mean, a lot, the generation we've grown up in, a lot of kids are just used to texting, having as much time they need to respond. So when they get into conversation, a lot of kids don't say as much anymore, not as willing to talk in person, which is a huge detriment to our culture.
The lack of communication sometimes, like you can like misinterpret what people are saying.
It's kind of like you can never tell like if like what someone's trying to say, like the emotions are kind of lost, and you can never really get like a good point across.
People can be rather mean in a way, and then others kind of lose the ability to like actually talk to people in normal, like human.
The worst thing about texting is that it is likely that texts are misinterpreted because you cannot hear tone, you cannot see facial expressions. So I think there's a lot of drama around texting.
The fact that that you might misinterpret what someone's saying, and there's like no feeling in texting. It's just like words.
The worst thing about texting is probably the fact that like someone will say something and you're not sure if they're like serious or kidding or like what the like emotion behind it was.
Well, it can be distracting and like it kind of like isolates yourself from like whatever else is going on. In text, I like abbreviate words to like make my like typing faster.
Yeah, definitely. I can't really express like eggplant emoji with like with like words. So yeah, I do talk differently with the smiley faces, the winky faces, you know.
Yeah, I mean, like texting language, like LOL or something like that. Yeah.
I think people are probably less discreet when they text, and because they don't have that burden of watching somebody's reaction to what they're saying. And I think the English language is absolutely butchered in texting, which is problematic for me as well. So there you have it.
Okay, yeah, I do, because it's easier to like say something to someone like over a screen than it is face to face.
I probably am like more like maybe more outgoing, like texting. It's like it's easier to like freely say things without like feeling like she'll probably not like that. Like in person, it's easier to say things over texting than in person, I guess.
Absolutely, I text a lot of random people.
Absolutely. I feel that people say things that they would not say to another person's face.
Texting definitely makes it easier for a person to feel more comfortable.
Yeah, there's been instances where I feel like I've said things where I wouldn't necessarily have the confidence, I guess, or something like that to say to the person's face.
Okay, so if I want to tell a girl that she's cute or something, I would rather do it over text than like say it in person. I don't know. It's just like it's easier. There's like less social tension.
It's like because things get like lost in translation, and it's like you can't have like facial expressions or like sarcasm over text, so it gets like people don't like pick up on jokes or like sarcastic jokes, and people get like offended. Like anything could go wrong because you can't hear like what people are saying.
Of course, it always does. Like, I had a fight with someone just because you can't really use sarcasm over text, and they interpreted that wrong. So.
Yes, it has. Because I think that when you have a problem with someone, you should call them. And one time I didn't, and I just texted. It's personal.
I've gotten in fights with my friends, and like whenever I just get like really annoyed with them, I'll like stop texting them, and then that kind of fuels the fire a little bit. So.
You know, things come out meaner, first of all, in text, and second of all, people, you know, say a lot of mean things because they don't have to face reality and, you know, face the person's face. So I think that's like a really big problem with texting, is that people feel like they can say whatever they want because there's no face-to-face communication, and in the end it ends up causing a lot more problems.
Yeah. I don't really fight that much. Kind of a peaceful guy.
I don't like texting, actually.
Through these interviews, it became very clear to me that pretty much everyone agrees. Texting is taking over. While we all seem to agree that texting was originally meant to be a quick form of communication, we've all begun to use it as a constant form of communication and conversation. In addition, this mixture of quick communication but full-on conversations is causing way too many problems. As all of you mentioned, texting is a distraction from what's going on around you. Because of the lack of emotion, messages don't come across clearly, and people are misinterpreted. In addition, the English language is being completely butchered, while kids are losing the ability to talk face-to-face. If our generation doesn't stop getting so caught up in this new medium, I worry that we'll end up losing effective communication completely.